Hi, I'm Elizabeth at the Radford Public Library, and I have a new book recommendation for you for a new adult fiction written by Caitlin Mullen. It is titled Please See Us, if you can see that title and that cover. It is actually her debut novel. It came out in March of this year, and it's a psychological thriller. It's not really a whodunit so much as it is a psychological thriller. It's very eerie, it's very haunting. The voices are from characters who are both alive and dead when we begin the book. It is set in Atlantic City, and this backdrop is incredibly atmospheric and powerful, except that Atlantic City is really suffering. There's limited tourism, there's not a lot of opportunity there, and it's summertime, so you just get such a sense of the place. You feel like you're there. There are several different first-person accounts. Primarily the chapters are broken up in between Lily and Clara as the main characters, but you also have chapters that belong to the women who go missing in Atlantic City and are ultimately murdered, and they're referred to as Jane 1, Jane 2, Jane 3, all the way up through 6. They have their own voices as well, and that makes it even more powerful. I just want to read a couple of chapters, if that's nope, not chapters, paragraphs, if that's okay, because I want you to have the flavor of her writing style. It's really quite gorgeous, and the bodies of these women who have disappeared are left behind kind of side by side on this marsh, and you know that very early on in the book, so that's not a spoiler. The marsh is supposed to be protective, a buffer between the land and the sea. It's where things transition, where water and land slide together into one. Blue claw crabs scuttle through the murky water, sometimes finding their way back to the ocean. Birds raise their young here, where there are fewer predators and plenty for them to eat. Egrets pick their way through the mud with elegant care, but for the women it's purgatory. Nothing in the marsh is either or, water or land, lost or found. Their bodies are starting to become something else as their tissue softens and the blood pools in their limbs, something not bound by muscle and skin. They're not women anymore, and yet they aren't free and light like spirits, free to float away, to rise above the marsh like ghosts. They sense the shift in the wind during the final stretches of July. They know that this new month will bring warmer water, longer nights, cooler breezes. Then the ocean will brew storms, hurricanes that surge their way up the coast. Wind that tears at the grass, tides that could scatter them, wash away what's left. They think this means they're running out of time to tell their stories, time to be heard. They plead again for someone to see before it's too late. And so there's where the title, Please See Us, comes from. It's super good. It is less about a whodunit, less about a murderer and the murdering itself, and more about these women who are victims who have stories to tell. And also on a grander scheme, because one of the main characters is a man who works in Atlantic City who doesn't speak and doesn't hear, and he really kind of embodies how some of these women don't have voices. They've gone unnoticed, unheard, unseen, and although he's alive, he kind of suffers through some of the same treatment. I highly recommend this book if it sounds like something you might want to read. Again, it's Please See Us, and it's written by Caitlin Mullen. Thanks for listening.